Carved up by a serial killer? Or maybe something else? Let's see. Let's find out here with the IMDb plot to start. A group of survivors finds themselves trapped in a historical reenactment village on Halloween, where they must unite to battle a sentient, vengeful pumpkin. All right. So it's not a serial killer. We got a killer pumpkin. And that sounds good for the Halloween season. This movie came out in October. So as I kind of continue to wrap up 2024 and catch up with some movies, this one definitely came out on Hulu during October and really fit the October theme and Halloween with the killer pumpkin. And I should say that we should have more of these movies, in October. Maybe different kind of killer pumpkin movies. Why not? It just fits so well. I was glad, to see this one, even though I saw this one, I think obviously after Halloween. After watching it, I kind of pictured myself watching this in October. And had I watched it in October, I think I would have enjoyed it maybe even a little bit more because it just kind of feels like a movie that you should watch during that time. So definitely down for more killer pumpkin movies. Regardless of what you thought of this one, for those who have seen this, it's just one of those things that should be, and if not, obviously not every year, but maybe every other year or so, more killer pumpkins. I mean, it's good to kind of see maybe something a little bit different that's going to come and kill you than some of the other stuff that we've seen. We've seen, some Halloween, decorations, and, you always see that, statue that's there or thing that's at the door, or is the scarecrow at the door, and is it going to come alive? And we've seen a couple of movies where those things come alive, and we recently had the Spirit Halloween movie, and as fun as that was, stuff come alive there, and that opened the door for a whole bunch of stuff. But it's good, something about just having the pumpkin there, and different ways to do it and so forth. So yeah, that said, let's talk a little bit about this movie. I thought this was it was all right. I think you kind of have the kind of similar kind of setup that we usually have. We have a group of young people here, and they find themselves in this weird kind of Halloween village thing, that's they're just expecting to celebrate Halloween, and they have their own things going on, and we got a group of young people here, and basically it ends up a group of young people that you just want to see killed. Hey, when is this killer pumpkin going to get them? There's nothing blown away by them. The acting is okay, not great, not bad, but they're there just to let the killer pumpkin get them. As far as they try to do a little bit of a twist to kind of give you an opening, then kind of go back, and then kind of get to that point and then move on past. So I thought that was good. It kind of kept you kind of in the story or watching what was going to happen, because once you kind of realize that's going on, you're kind of like, oh, okay, I thought that was a completely separate thing, but now this is kind of connected, and now we're going forward. So I thought that at least kind of gave it a little boost as far as the story, as opposed to just having these young kids just there and dying. And then obviously the putting them in this kind of different Halloween kind of setting, as opposed to being in their homes or whatever. But all that aside, I mean, let's come down to it, as I opened up with a speech on the pumpkin. This is really all about the pumpkin here, and I thought they did a pretty good job. I didn't do any digging into this to see how they did it and this and that and the other thing, but I would say this pumpkin ended up being a little bit more violent than I thought. I don't know what I was thinking. I just really wasn't sure what this pumpkin was going to do, how they were going to do it. But basically, its vines do a lot of the killing. They become like kind of sharp-ended points, and they do a little stabbing, and the pumpkin ends up being a little smarter than, than you would think as well, as it's, kind of making its way through and finding its victims and picking out the people to kill. And maybe there's a little bit of reason why it wants to kill certain people more than maybe some others. And so that was a little bit more thought into it than I thought. It's just not random killer pumpkin, just if it sees you, you're gonna die. No, it's got some vengefulness in it. It's got some reason behind its killing, and you kind of find that out as we go along. Not going to give that away, but we'll find out. So yeah, I thought it was a little bit more bloody, and I thought that the pumpkin was a little more mean and vengeful than I kind of thought. I thought, maybe having those flashbacks of maybe like a sci-fi movie where we just have some stupid, really bad looking pumpkin that's just going to come and roll in and just maybe roll over people and I don't know, just do some really stupid stuff and bad stuff. But I liked their use of the pumpkin, and I liked the way they kind of executed some of the kills. Nothing super extreme, super brutal, but definitely, I guess more than I thought, I guess. And I don't know what your guys' expectations for, if you've seen it or if you're going to watch it. But maybe it was a little bit more killing than I thought, or a little bit more, angry of a pumpkin than I thought it was going to end up being. So it's not really like a horror comedy kind of thing here, where we just have a silly pumpkin going around. Definitely a little bit more serious than I thought. I had mixed feelings about the end, and I'm not going to give it away, for maybe some of you that haven't seen it. But I kind of thought that, as I again said at the beginning, I was all in for more killer pumpkins. And I thought kind of they left the door open maybe for some more. And I think at the end of the day, obviously they could have some more killer pumpkins within this story. But I thought, they almost left it open for that and then almost took it away from you. So I kind of had mixed feelings about that. I kind of wanted the pumpkin really to win. I mean, you guys know me. I'm all for the bad guy winning, and we don't need the happy ending. But they did do something a little interesting, but then kind of took it away from you in the same time. So I was kind of like, eh. For those who saw, maybe you know what I'm talking about. If not, I don't want to give away the ending and then spoil it for any of you guys who have not seen it. But they kind of leave the door open there for more pumpkin madness, and then take it away from you, and kind of left a good idea for maybe, like I said, a more pumpkin movie. This is a solo pumpkin. He's alone, it's alone out there killing. Maybe we don't have to go to the extremes of the killer tomatoes and have dozens and dozens and dozens of hundreds and hundreds of tomatoes killing you. But maybe the next pumpkin movie we get, whether it's from this or from something else, let's maybe the pumpkin patch of horror or whatever, and have a good sized group of pumpkins go. I mean, this pumpkin by itself is a good sized pumpkin. It's not this little pumpkin that you're putting at your door that's killing you. It's a fairly good sized pumpkin, that's doing the damage here. But, why not have, several of them? Let's make this interesting. Kind of like the Critters of Pumpkin or the Gremlins of Pumpkins, and, just have a whole batch of them and come at you. Let's do that. So, yeah, again, the ending kind of opened a door that I was like, yes, and then they closed the door and I was like, no. So I was like, okay. Um, but yeah, I think at the end of the day for this one, a good movie for October, fitting the theme. Um, not maybe necessarily one that you're going to go back and watch every October, but if you kind of stumble upon, if you haven't seen it, or maybe you watched it this year and maybe 2 or 3 years from now, you're like, oh look, that's on, and you kind of throw it on again. Um, Kind of that thing, it just kind of fits, the period and the theme or whatever. So, now, I'm posting this review a little bit later, so, maybe you're not interested in watching it now, but, maybe if you didn't catch it this October, maybe next October, if you kind of looking for something that you missed from last year, you'd be like, oh, look, there's Carved, and, it's Killer Pumpkin. So now to turn it on. So, while it might not be a January watch, maybe, you wait till later on in the year and watch it. So, with that, I think I'm going to give it 2.5 pools of blood. It was all right. I liked the pumpkin. They did a better job than I thought. It was a little bit more brutal than I thought. But, overall, it was what it was, a killer pumpkin movie. Didn't go, wasn't, hugely amazing, but wasn't bad. It was okay. I'd say better than I thought. Like I said, I was kind of having thoughts of sci-fi. I know this was on Hulu, but I was kind of thinking, this could be as bad as a sci-fi movie. But no, it was all right. It was all right. Speaking of sci-fi, I haven't seen anything on sci-fi in a while. With all the streaming stuff, and I just don't have time to go to the Sci-Fi Network as much as I used to. Maybe I have to swing over there and see what's going on. Anyway, back to the whole thing. Again, 2.5 pools of blood here for Carved. Again, this was on Hulu in case you missed it during October. And with that, horrorgory-reviews.blogspot.com is where you can find all my reviews, written in video. Certainly tons of video reviews for a while now, so you can like and subscribe and do everything else that everybody wants to do here on YouTube. But if not, no worries, it is okay. I thank you for your time regardless. And Twitter, Facebook information down below, so you can also join me there if you'd like. Talk horror, this movie, other movies, something you want me to review. And definitely in the comment section down there, your feelings about this movie, if you've seen it. Pumpkin movies, if you've got another good one out there that maybe I haven't seen, or pumpkin ideas, let's go for the coming years. Let's have it. Let's hear it. And with that, I guess I'll catch you in the next review, horror fans.